Thank you so much, Emily. And I just want to say thank you to April and Sarah for sharing your really inspiring and insightful stories with all of us. Your stories are a call to action for all of us who are working on the winter of CS, the summer of CS, the whole seasons of CS program, because the impact that we hope to have is the one you're asking for, where there are equitable opportunities for all students in computer science, where it's not just the few who have the rockin' moms that you do and dads who've gotten you involved in it, who've gone above and beyond, but for every student in every context, and especially students who have been marginalized and have not been included in computer science. So thank you for putting faces and voices to that mission that we're all trying to live out. And I'm Lauren Arengaren. I serve as Director for Equitable Learning Systems at the Santa Barbara County Education Office. And my partner in all things CS, Kate, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yep, thanks, Lauren. I'm Kate Tolnai, Director of Digital Learning at the Santa Barbara County Education Office, and just really honored to be a part of this greater body of work that is, I echo Lauren. It's really speaking to the story that you both told. So thank you for that.
Great, thank you, Kate. So Kate and I are here to share the CS Equity Workshop for school leaders. We will be presenting this, facilitating this 2 times this winter, and then again at Summer of CS. And the purpose of the administrator workshop is to provide school leaders with the resources, the experiences, and some of the strategies that they'll need to implement computer science in whatever their local context is. And that workshop came out of the Computer Science Equity Guide, which was a collaborative effort from CS for California and the Scale CA project out of UCLA Center X. And so we are just delighted to be able to bring the CS Equity Guide and a number of other resources to administrators during the workshop. And what we have to share with you today is actually part of the challenges that are associated with the CS Equity Guide. And so I'm going to go ahead and just share screen and ask you all to notice that the theme that we're talking about today is broadening participation, right? Just the thing that April and Sarah were lifting up for us. And so Kate is going to go ahead and lead us through this part. And so Kate, go ahead.
So as Lauren explained, the CS Equity Guide presents a number of scenarios, challenges, vignettes that really help paint a broad, realistic picture of the challenges that and the work that we are all charged with to unleash computer science instruction for all learners. And so we want you to just take a moment. I'm going to read this out loud. Feel free to read along. And if hopefully you're familiar enough with Jamboard, we want you to consider how relevant this scenario is to your community, and then using the writing tools or or inserting an image, just go ahead and plot where you are on this Likert scale of how relevant this might be in your community. So here we go. You collect data for your district and notice that although you have a diverse student body, your CS classes have students that are predominantly white and Asian males. When you approach the teacher with this data point, the teacher does not see this as a problem, but rather says, that's just who's interested in CS. And please remember, this is from the perspective of decision makers and administrators. So the question we're asking you to consider is, how relevant is this scenario to your community? If you agree that it is very relevant, you would be on the higher end of the spectrum. And if you think it's less connected to the challenges of your community, you would be towards the lower end of the spectrum. And yeah, I'll just give you a moment to plot that out. Oh, I love it. There we go. There we go. Lauren, when this activity is done in the workshop, what are some ahas? Is there any ahas that have come out of this in particular, or any big ideas that you've gone deeper into?
So, just as April and Sarah recognized, it is an issue broadly in the state of California that Hispanic students, Latinx students, and African-American students and women and girls are less well served by the system that we have in place right now to provide access to computer science. And that also, LGBTQ youth are marginalized in the system and don't seem to be as included as much. So broadly, that seemed to be the case. It's not the case in every single context, but it does seem to, as it's showing up on the Likert scale, this seems to be what we see regularly.
Perfect. Maybe let's go to the next part of the activity.
Okay.
I see trends popping up here.
That's great. Thank you all for sharing. I'm going to go ahead and scooch us forward. And so the next thing that we'd like you to think about, having thought about this in terms of how relevant the issue is, in terms of this challenge, number one, how might you respond? And you can just take a Post-it and maybe type a little response there quickly. Or the other one is, what could you do, right, in your role to ensure that CS classes are more representative of your student body? So you can choose which one you would like to respond to. How might you respond to the teacher, or how might you act within your system? And great, I can see people are picking up some Post-its.
What I'm really excited about with this workshop that we're going to be facilitating is the very explicit directive that this is a shared effort, that this work can't happen in isolation. Decision makers can't do this to teachers. Teachers can't do this to students, and students can't do this to anybody. And what role do counselors play? What role do support staff play? What role do caregivers play? So these are all bigger conversations that we get to explore as we take this pretty heady conversation and really expand it and align it to the CS Equity Guide. And
yeah, and I want to just add to that, Kate, yes, that we look at these challenges, and then the CS Equity Guide and the workshop itself provides resources to answer some of the questions that are in these challenges. And with that, I think we are coming to the end of our time. So, so I just would like to thank you. And Kate, would you like to say anything to wrap us up?
Oh, I hope to see people here. If anything, thank you for just being on this call and engaging during CS Ed Week. And if not now, when? So let's do it.
Great.